Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 Driver Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we are headed to Imola for the Italian Grand Prix, and I'm hearing there is some rain coming in the Grand Prix as well, which could give us a nice opportunity to make something happen today. We have brought upgrades this weekend along with Aston Martin, which allows both teams to close the gap even further to McLaren and Mercedes. We continue to just kind of get a little bit closer, centimeter by centimeter every episode, I feel like, here now. So hopefully we can bring a little bit more pace this weekend. It's pretty obvious, it's not going to be 100% right where we need to be in qualifying for sure, because that's going to be dry, but the Grand Prix with potential wet weather, it's kind of the equalizer. So I think we have a legitimate chance this weekend to actually show up and run very well and at least get a podium and who knows, maybe fight for the victory, depending on, of course, how things play out. How much rain we get and, how much dry racing we get and whatnot is going to play a crucial factor in determining the outcome of the Grand Prix. But free practice one on Friday went relatively well, just getting a feel for the car, of course, and I was pretty happy with it. Imola, not one of my strongest tracks on the F1 calendar. We've kind of got a stretch of races where I struggle a little bit. Zandvoort didn't go great. Verstappen dominated my pace. I've been going back and forth so far on who's beating who every weekend. So if we go by the pattern, we should beat Verstappen this weekend. But Imola, like I said, not a great track for me. And then next episode, Monaco. Well, that's historically a great track for us. We got our first career win there. We were leading there last season until Russell passed us late. Then we had the mechanical failure. And then after that, we have Miami coming up. So we kind of go to a track like. Then we go to Miami, a track that's in my bottom 3 of circuits in the calendar. Then we go home racing in Canada coming up, so I'm excited for that. But obviously, focusing in on today, qualifying Saturday afternoon here in Imola. Now, what can we do? It should be a cruise through Q1 and hopefully Q2 as well, but Q1 I invalidated my lap time right away, so that was cool. But we would still be able to put up a lap and make it through, so it wasn't a big deal. We would go P9, Verstappen P6, Hughes, Mayer, Pourchaire, Lawson, and Butler out. A decent result for Calimere there, P17, while Butler down in P20 as we roll into Q2 now. And just, of course, trying to make it into that top 10, which we have struggled, at previous points, like last episode in Zandvoort with all the frustrations and errors that I made. But we were P8 after the first run. Lap 2, though, would put us up to P6. So we would make it into Q3. Ayumu Iwasa, Pierre Gasly, Felipe Drugovich, Ocon, and Zhou Guanyu all out in Q2. So now we can focus in on the fast teams here. Aston Martin, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ford, Mercedes, as well as McLaren. McLaren has been dominant this season. They have won every race, 2 back-to-back Grand Prix victories for Aiden Jackson in the last 2 episodes. Can he go for the three-peat like Albon did in the first 3 Grand Prix of the season? My first lap, it puts us P4, while Verstappen splits the McLarens in second. So going for a second attempt here late in the session. Can we go faster? You can see it's close, but you're going to notice a little bit later in the lap right here, a little bit slow on the exit, and I invalidate my time. So we have to make a third and final attempt. We were down to P5, a huge slipstream here from the Ferrari of Leclerc. I actually let him go when I was recharging my battery so I could get an opportunity to get that slipstream. And unfortunately, I threw the lap away again, and it wouldn't be enough. So we would drop all the way to P7, and that's where we're going to start. So I was a little bit disappointed by that because Verstappen's up in third, beats the Mercedes, and we get beat by the pair of Mercedes as well as Oscar Piastri. It's an Albon Jackson McLaren front row lockout again. P7, rain on the way, anything is possible.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a great lap from Alexander Albon yesterday. He'll start from pole position. And Aiden Jackson completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Golden Boy, Tsunoda, Sainz, Iwasa, Gasly, Drugovic, Ocon, Joe, Leclerc, Hughes, Mayer, Teo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson and Devon Butler rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's have a chat about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
I see some cloudy skies. When is the rain actually going to be coming? We're going to take a look at the strategy here, and you can see it looks like about halfway through the Grand Prix. So we're going to be starting on mediums, and then we'll probably switch over inters later in the Grand Prix. Let's get ready to roll in Imola.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Guys, it's raining already.
Yep, we see it. Be ready to pit quickly.
So we saw some sprinkles. You see the rain falling right there. It's very light at the moment, but is this going to add some moisture to the surface enough to, lessen the grip for some of these cars, including myself on the start? Well, we're about to find out the answer to that here in just a few seconds. Devon Butler rounds up to the back of the grid, and here we get ready to roll in Imola 5. Red lights, it's lights out. We're underway for the Imola Italian Grand Prix. It's a slow start for the 2 front runners. Verstappen splits them both, and I'm going to follow through as well. What a start from 7th to 2nd. Verstappen from 3rd to 1st. Red Bull Ford 1-2 as we dive down into turn 1. The McLarens didn't get going well at all, and now it's a Red Bull Ford 1-2, McLaren 3-4, Mercedes on back in 5th and 6th. Then you got the Ferraris and the Aston Martins trying to settle things out between those two teams now. Unbelievable start here in Imola. You really couldn't ask for anything better, and the 2 McLarens just did not get going. They didn't close the door on Verstappen. They left the door for me, who had a huge run on everybody, not only the 2 McLarens, but the Mercedes as well, and Oscar Piastri in the Aston Martin. So a great start. The rain is already falling significantly earlier than expected. We were looking at the halfway point of the race. It's very certainly not the halfway point in the race. It's the very first lap of 32. But now the question is, what kind of pace do we have? How long till it gets wet enough for inters? And what are the McLarens capable of? Well, the McLarens are quick, but I was quicker than Max Verstappen. We were reeling in. My Dutch teammate here now is at the end of lap 1 into turn 1 already. You can see we are closing in quickly, but I got a rear view mirror full of Aiden Jackson as well as Alex Albon. But look at the gap that we close in on Verstappen, who seems to be struggling now. The track already starting to dampen a little bit here. Lap 3, you can see with the DRS enabled, of course, at this point, we are all over the back of him. Can I fight him, or what's the situation?
No, do not fight. Right now, the McLarens are too close, and it could lose one of you more positions.
You hear the demand right there. No fighting Verstappen, at least right now, because the McLarens are too close. If I make a move on Verstappen, maybe into turn 1, we go side by side. He could lose a spot to the McLarens. I could lose a spot. Really hard to tell at this point, but look at the pressure I'm under from Aiden Jackson starting lap 4. He's on my right side. We're both drag racing down the straightaway, closing in on Max Verstappen in towards turn 1. We got to fight as hard as we can to keep these McLarens back, because once this track gets wet, I think we got a real chance to win this race, but we can't let the McLarens get ahead in the meantime. So doing everything I can to keep them behind me. That's all I could do at this point now, and it's as well helping Verstappen, but we are so much quicker than Max. I mean, right now, 1.1 seconds ahead, but watch this as I'm able to get into my comfort zone. 7/10 of a second we close it down to. Through the chicane, it's going to get even smaller of a margin, from 7.5 tenths to 7 to 6 tenths, now down to 4 tenths by the time we came through into the final couple of corners. It is clear we are quicker. We can't just ride behind Verstappen the whole time here now, because look at how close we are into turn 1, and he is parking the bus at this point. I can't keep riding, guys. This is terrible.
Okay, if you can get him, go get the spot, but do it smart.
Mark says, do it smart. However, on this 5th lap, I am seeing the track get moist, and I decide, okay, let's just pit instead and not focused even on overtaking Verstappen. So I followed him the rest of the lap, and we dive into the pit lane instead from second place, because you can see the condition of the track is worsening very, very quickly. We have hit that point where it's like, okay, we got to put on the inters, and now I think we have a huge opportunity here, because everyone's about to be scrambling into the pits, and we are probably now going to be, not probably, we will be leading this Grand Prix, because we're about to gain so much time, and you're going to see right now the gap to at least the back markers, Liam Lawson, 12.9 seconds. Now that's going to be kind of the marker right there to watch. 13.0. How much time will we gain on them? Well, the answer is a massive amount of time, and by the time they were coming out of the pits, we are absolutely flying past them. Carlos Sainz is in this group of cars, but they're all hustling into the pits for inters, and the leader stayed out. Even better for me. So we're going to continue to close in on them. Now only 11 seconds to Hughes at this point. So you can tell we're gaining a lot of time, but yellow flags in the first sector. It's Liam Lawson pulling over with a mechanical failure. This could be detrimental to our Grand Prix here if a virtual safety car or a safety car comes out. And sure enough, Lawson out of the Grand Prix, and you're going to see it right there. Virtual safety car, and everybody in front of us that's going to pit right here gets a massive time gain, and we just got royally screwed. Jackson's in, Verstappen's in, Russell's in, as well as I believe Yuki Tsunoda, or no, Oscar Piastri. So by the time we were coming back around to end the virtual safety car, look at the damage done. We're right behind George Russell, who is stomping on the brake pedal. We return to racing pace, but we now are seconds behind the cars in front instead of what was looking like going to probably be, you know, a good 4 to 5 seconds ahead of those cars. At the end of this lap, Albon, Norris, Tsunoda, Drugovich, they're all coming in. Hughes as well. They're going to be behind us. So we're going to still cycle out into a decent position inside the top 5. But we should be leading this Grand Prix, but the timing of that virtual safety car allowed Jackson, Verstappen, Piastri, and them to just have that free pit stop, basically. So really awful timing, and now we have to get on with it and just hope for the best. And I was struggling right off the bat to find the pace. I mean, Russell was closing in on me, so now I'm starting to lose a bit of confidence here. Lap 10, Aiden Jackson's out in front, 3.7 seconds between himself and my teammate of Verstappen, who's still in search of podium number 1 this season. Piastri in third, but we were starting to find our stride a little bit. We were closing in on our former team car of the Aston Martin. Battles right here. That's Norris going past Yumu Iwasa, who's been continuing to light things up lately here in this BMW. Now, of course, that team co-owned by Fernando Alonso, as he is a big advisor and driver kind of advisor on that team. But you can see myself continuing to start to get into a rhythm, find the flow I need, and we're closing in now on Oscar Piastri and about to put the attack to him. At this point, it was simple. It is what it is. You know, the virtual safety car screwed us, but we can still win this, because in the rain, we are the fastest in this game when it comes to the career mode. We are unbelievable. Our pace has always been fantastic in the rain, and now here we go around the outside of Piastri into turn number 1. Already job well done. Piastri, a bit of an awkward reaction right there to the back of my car, nearly hit it, and that's going to put him now under pressure from the Mercedes of George Russell. But the gap right here, you see 3.7 to Verstappen, 7.7 to Aiden Jackson. That's a lot of time to make up, but I don't know when this rain's going to stop, and I was asking Mark about it, and it sounded like it's actually going to continue to worsen. So this is going to be a good opportunity for us, because I feel like the heavier the rain gets, the better it is for myself. So I'm confident here, and we were gaining time on both cars in front of us. Verstappen specifically, Jackson still 7.6, 7.7 seconds or so up the road. We were gaining a little bit on him, but we were gaining a lot on Verstappen. It's about to be game on. Now, that was a bit concerning. If the conditions stay the same for the rest of the race, we're not going to get Aiden Jackson. I was praying that the rain was going to continue to get heavier, and it was. You can see just visually the rain starting to fall quite significantly heavier than it was just 5 laps ago. And now Verstappen less than a second ahead, and here we go on the run down towards turn 1, closing in on the halfway point of this Grand Prix. It's been a heck of a race so far here in Imola, and now we have an opportunity to go get second place back. Hopefully Verstappen won't fight us too hard, but I'm expecting a pretty difficult fight. Here we go now. Up the elevation, Verstappen struggling to the left side. We go. It's a drag race now. It's going to be wheel to wheel down towards the chicane. And here we go, leaving Verstappen in the room. We both race each other very respectfully, which is great to see. I don't, force him wide or anything, because I think the my corner argument that F1 drivers like to use is one of the dumbest arguments in motorsports, personally. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I always think, when there's contact or someone gets shoved wide and the driver goes, oh, it was my corner, that just simply is telling me that you don't know how to race. other people on the track, and I think it's one of the worst arguments in motorsports. But focusing in now, 6.7 seconds. It was cutting down to Jackson because look at the rain. It is absolutely coming down here now, but the Inters were still the preferred tire at this point as the rain was just continuing to chuck it down. The heavier it got, the better it was for me. The gap was coming down quickly to Aiden Jackson. Now less than 5 seconds. I mean, we could barely gain anything. We only gained like a second over 6 or 7 laps, and now in just the last few laps we have gained multiple seconds, and now it's going to be under 4 seconds. I know, one mechanical failure, one crash, it could ignite a full-blown safety car at this point, which would put us right to the back of Jackson. But I kind of want this thing to stay green because I like what I see, out my front, not windshield, but just my view, because now the gap's about 2 seconds, with coming up towards the final 10 laps. Yellow flag in Sector 1. One of the Connor Sport cars has gone wide. They've gotten it collected and back going there. That could have turned into a safety car, but everything's okay. 1.4 seconds to Jackson, his second season in Formula 1, and he's quickly turning into a superstar in Formula 1. 2 back-to-back wins in McLaren. Of course, McLaren have won all 5 Grand Prix this season. We're looking to change that today. The gap to Verstappen now 8.5 seconds. He's under pressure from Albon, who has closed the gap to him. But how easy is it going to be for Albon to close in? Coming to 10 to go. We're going to go through the grid. The chase is on.
Jackson in front, but for the first time this year for McLaren, the pressure is on. Owen is closing quickly.
Hold on, Crofty. We've got cars coming out of the pits right with the 2 leaders. This is turning into madness out here. The rain is chucking it down. We could be moments away from a safety car or even a red flag.
This is crazy, guys. Verstappen is coming into the pits now as well. His side of the garage is not confident they can get to the end on one set of Inters. I'm a bit surprised no one is trying the wet tyre with how much rain is currently falling. Teams are expecting this heavy rain for another 5 to 10 minutes.
How about the 2 Williams? Both in the top 10, as it looks like they are going to try and stretch it on a one-stop here.
And I believe Jake Hughes is about to be under some real pressure from Yuki Tsunoda. I doubt there will be much the young Brit can do to hold off the speed of that Aston Martin.
He'll fight hard here, but Yuki will for sure take the spot into turn 1 here. It won't be much of a contest at all for that spot.
Tsunoda gets through into 9th and the chase is on for Joe. I hear the battle for the lead is starting to heat up, so let's head over to that.
And there you have through the grid, both Ferraris outside of the points currently. It's been a rough day for them, but we are all over the back now of Aiden Jackson with lap cars right behind us. Some drivers trying to do the 2-stop strategy, including our teammate of Max Verstappen. I thought they were going on to wets, but they never did. They went back onto a second set of Inters. The rain chucking it down. It has absolutely favored myself. The pressure is on Aiden Jackson here out of the hairpin. Lap 24, an opportunity up the inside we go. Can we get the job done for the lead here in Imola? On the run towards the corner, not going to be enough. Jackson a little bit more confident than myself there, and we're going to continue to trail him on the run down towards turn 1. A lap later to the outside this time. Who's going to get it into the first corner again? Jackson, a lot of confidence there under braking. I let him have it for now, just waiting for the right opportunity here now as we go down towards the chicane. Jackson locks up on the apex, a little bit of contact on the back of him. This is the opportunity we need though. He had an awkward exit, even more contact right there, but we swing to the left side, use the battery, wheel to wheel down this little short shoot towards the penultimate corner. That McLaren top speed's enough for him to get ahead, but we lunge it into the corner of nearly some contact. I believe we just barely avoided. Got a little bit dirty right there, or a little bit, scruffy, we'll say. It wasn't dirty because we never really made contact. We kept it as clean as we could in these treacherous conditions, and to the lead in Imola, but it's not over. Jackson with that straight line speed's gonna fight back on the run towards turn 1. I defend left, he goes right. We're wheel to wheel, nearly even, but we keep him behind and at bay into turn 1, and now we are in the lead of the Italian Grand Prix here in Imola. Are we gonna get our first win since season 2? It's been since the penultimate Grand Prix of season 2, Brazil, since we have gone to the top step of the podium. I guess it was the third to last race in season 2 actually, but it's been a while. We didn't win in season 3, of course, with the Aston Martin. That was a little bit off, and we have had a solid start to this season, and now here we are in position to finally go back to the top step of the podium. We just have to hang on, and you can see one thing that could challenge a victory today is the tire wear. Our tires are over 60%. You see the tire warning light. It's currently orange, so nothing to be too concerned about yet. I'm not concerned until the tires get to about 70%, because they can really blow anywhere between 70 and like 85, as I have a big moment right there, and that allows Jackson to close back in on myself here. Now about half a second between the two of us in these closing laps. The rain's still chucking it down, but it's just not enough for the wets, and we continue to actually drive away now. 1.8 seconds. Look at the tires now, 65% on the rears. So coming to 3 to go, we should be okay, but I've said this before. We've been in a position where we had worn inters late in the race, and I believe it was season 2 with Aston Martin at Miami, and we had the tire puncture, and of course our race got thrown away in that scenario. I really hope we don't have that today, and especially hope we don't have a mechanical failure. Just trying to hang on. Albon closing. He's only 6.4 seconds back, probably the quickest car on track at this point in the Grand Prix, to be completely honest now, as Jackson is starting to fade behind. A little bit of a wheel spin there, but the tires with 2 laps to go would hit that 70% area. You see the tire warning light? It's just getting darker and darker, and that's not what you want to see, but I wasn't too concerned at this point because we are coming through to the final lap in Imola now. 72 and 73 on the rears. The rain's starting to calm down in these closing laps, thankfully now. So it's going to be a nice calm ending here as we have 3 seconds to Jackson, still about 6.5 to Albon. It's not really changed to him. And the final lap in Imola is underway, and towards the final chicane here on this final lap. It's been a long time coming. As I already mentioned, it's been since Brazil in season 2 since we've been at the top step of the podium. Many podiums in between last season as well, and even with Red Bull Ford this season. Christian Horner brought us on finally after a long time in the making to get us a part of the Red Bull family again after leaving AlphaTauri, and it's going to pay off today because for the first time this season it's going to be not McLaren winning, it's going to be us getting win number 1 of the season and career win number 4.
Fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
Let's go, Gary. Awesome drive, mate. Thank you. Enjoy it.
Oh my god, thank you guys. Thank you, Christian. Awesome.
They take the checkered flag then here in Imola in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
It's been a long time coming, and, going back to the top step of the podium and, what's been over a season in the making, getting in the right, resources, the right team, and the right backing, we finally make it happen, and, it's almost worth that wait because it was in dramatic fashion, epic fashion, in the treacherous conditions here in the rain in Imola. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, as that run went on, and we were getting quicker and quicker compared to the other cars around us. Now, I'm very thankful that Alex Albon's strategy, he had to pit like a lap later than Jackson because he was definitely quickest at the end of that Grand Prix. So yeah, I'm pretty thankful that he was not closer to us because it could have got a little bit more interesting. But, it's finally McLaren not winning. It's Red Bull Ford. We will absolutely take that, and I think we're starting to showcase that we might be a little bit better than Mercedes, but, in the dry, McLaren still has the advantage clearly, so there is some work still to be done. We cannot, ignore that. We are now 54 points out of the title battle, up to third for the first time this season, ahead of Verstappen in the points, 97 back in the constructors, but we take P2 over Mercedes, and you see Aston Martin and Ferrari 4th and 5th. Connor Sport and Haas, Alfa Romeo Haas, the 2 teams without points so far. Monaco is next. You guys know I love it there. It's all about track position. We could win another one. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.